who's the superhero that's gonna speak against Joe Manchin? I want to know who's the real president of this country. Is it Joe Biden or Joe Manchin? She can hear me. Can you hear me loud and clear? They're acting like they can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, so who's the real president of this country? Is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden? Not vice president.
Come on, Charlamagne. It's Joe Biden.
I can't
No. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president. My name is Kamala Harris. And
who's the superhero that's going to speak against Joe Manchin?
Ooh, is the honeymoon over with Charla and Kamala? Let's talk about it. So, Kamala Harris was on Charlamagne's Comedy Central TV show. I haven't watched one episode of it. I only see clips. He shouldn't really be doing his political stuff. None of these nigga crats should, but he's here and we are. But anyways, Kamala's been getting bad ratings, smoked in the media, people leaving, staffers leaving. I still forgot to upload my video where they were tap dancing, flipping, flopping on Roland Martin's show, because all the evidence shows that Kamala is out next year. But I saw the honeymoon between Charla and your top cop kind of dwindling, because he took a couple shots at her in one of the, I don't know if it wasn't Donkey Today, but maybe in the rumor reports, they were talking about how Kamala's not using the power at bestowed upon her as VP. And obviously we mean the bully pulpit power. We mean, we elected you because you was going to hold him in check and challenge him and blah, blah, blah. Even though creepy Uncle Joe got the final say so, but, you could show a stand of force. And that's what a lot of you nigga crats want to see, but she's not doing that. So I guess that's when Charlamagne, was blunt and was like, she's not doing nothing. She's not using her power. But in this segment, of course, he tapped dance and caped for her. And every time he made a valid point, she flipped it on the Republicans, which was confusing because she broke down the Senate and the House and how it works and how she's a tiebreaker. She didn't mention that they could get rid of the filibuster rule, which would mean they don't need those votes. They can do it with less votes. She ain't talk about that. She just said, we're deadlocked and I'm the tiebreaker. We only got a 3-point lead and we got to go negotiate and talk to everybody in our party. And these people are trying to do what they're trying to do. She would not poop on Joe Manchin, which right now he is that dude. Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are in the position to hold up a lot of things in with these bills and whatnot. And they are, if you want to say it, they're the tiebreakers because they can't get anything passed without them because no Republicans are going to vote for it. But just like that, not one Republican voted for Obamacare, yet it still passed because they had the numbers and they have the numbers now. They just don't, everybody's not on one accord. And Charlamagne tried to make that point clear. Like, yo, what's up with Kristen and Joe? And again, I don't have a problem with them doing what they think is best for their districts or whatnot. There's a lot of effery going on with Kristen and these donor dinners and stuff like that. I don't know, but she's a Democrat in a red state too, so it's like you gotta deal with all that jazz too, right? You know what I mean? Like, it ain't just like you can just go do what you want to do, where like there are white Democrats who go to red states and they know they can't talk that gun control shit, so they have to switch up a little bit, right? They have to think about what happens in their communities in the states they represent. It's a big old state. It ain't just a bunch of liberals in there. Probably more Republicans than liberals. They probably only voted for her because, well, she won before Trump, but you get the gist. They didn't like the Republican that was there. Same thing we just saw happen in Virginia. Blue state, once was red, now blue, and it swung back blue again. It's red again. Because you have to talk to all the people. You represent all the people of the state, not just your party. So, again, Charlamagne and Kamala Harris love affair might seem like it's a bump in the road. In that segment, Charlamagne tried to be like, yo, so we all know that, like, that we all heard, like, oh, it's not Bush, it's Dick Cheney. He's really running the show, and he's the puppet master, and Bush is dumb, right? It didn't get that much spotlight under Obama's administration, but his puppet master was blakjesus, right? That's who the person was who, she's the one that advised Obama on the Reverend Wright situation. She's the one that when black folks was tired of tap dancing, they wanted actual change and some tangibles. She was the face that, not a pretty face, but she was a face that, said, get these niggas out of here. Like, too many black people asking for stuff, get them out. He already told you he wasn't going to run a black agenda and none of that nonsense. Sharpton repeated that he wasn't going to do any of that stuff. But she was that person. But this is different. This isn't what Charlamagne asked was, is Joe Biden really the president, or is it Joe Manchin? And this wasn't one of those puppet string that we all in the media know that was the thing that was said. Not so much the Obama thing again, but that was maybe right wing media. But the left always pointed out and made fun of Bush for saying he wasn't really the president. It was someone else, his V, But Kamala got indignant. She got heated when he made the point saying, like, yo, is Joe Biden really president? And her analogy, you being a Republican like that, it was cringeworthy, because the context of the conversation wasn't, is Trump is the real president, he's not validated as president. No, his argument is that this guy is holding up what he believes is progress. They just believe whatever these Democrats tell you that's in the bill is going to be in the bill, and there's not a bunch of pork and bullshit in the bill as well. Like, you always lead with the couple programs here and there that you think will help the American people, but you don't never talk about the shit that we give up every time these bills pass. The amount of individual freedoms and whatnot that go away, right? Like, these people don't just take money from other people to give it to other people without some type of negative externalities in it. Like, they get something out of it too. You feel me? Talk about those things. Don't sell me on sugar and spice and everything nice and all these things, that social programs that I don't use and I don't want or I care about. That's not motivating me. But be honest and say, what are the trade-offs? So what are we losing with that? But understand, Charlamagne's a niggercrat, and he believes that all those things and those bills are progress and they're gonna help save America, which one hasn't happened yet. We've had a bunch of bills and a bunch of stuff, and black people are still in the same economic conditions as before, even with those handout social programs, whatever. But anyways, Kamala Harris does this thing, and he's got her on the ropes, and he's like, yo, Joe Manchin, and he's blocking things. We're not going to talk about getting rid of the filibuster, but let's stick here. And she was more accommodating to that situation, saying, I understand he's from a state where West Virginia, where he has to deal with a different type of constituent as, say, a person who's, AOC in Brooklyn or wherever her district is at. Like, she can't, those people have to think about the entire state. But when it came to Republicans, she's going to say, don't blame Joe Manchin, blame the Republicans, because none of them voted for it, right? Huh? Wait a minute. So you're going to skip the fact that you got the majority, you got the House, Senate, all three, it's yours. You won, right? Negroes flipped Georgia blue. They gave you out of the White House, the Senate. You got Congress. Now what? And your thing is, nope, let's not blame the two Democrats in our party that we need to vote on these issues to get in the pass. Because if they vote for it, we can do whatever we want. Right now, if the Democrats get rid of filibuster, they can pass whatever the fuck they want. They're not going to talk about that or address that. But they'd rather shift blame to the Republicans. No, you have the power to do it. You can do what you want to do. Voting rights. That Biden doesn't even need Congress to get rid of that $10,000 debt he promised he's going to get rid of for y'all. But that ain't happening. He said, sorry. Fannie Mae starting back up in February. Crazy, right? But it's a love affair. I don't know how does this go, because you saw, I'm going to probably put that clip in the beginning. Shout out to Tessa Figueroa. I saw her posted on Twitter first, where, Symone Sanders, aka EJ, he jumps in and, oh my God, yeah. She jumps in and she is talking in the middle of the interview, which is unprecedented. Like, mute your mic, ho. Mute your mic, chill. But she jumps in acting like, because, That was a real question. Like, yo, why won't you go after Joe Manchin? Now, maybe they were told not to. Maybe Biden and the Democrats have to play footsie with Joe Manchin because he has so much power right now. Because literally nothing's going to get passed without him and Christian, but more so him. He's willing to pass all these things, but he's just like, yo, you got to cut some of that pork and some of that extra nonsense out of it. So nothing's going to get done without him. So maybe that's why Kamala is tiptoeing and taptoeing around it. I can understand that politically. She did what she's supposed to do. But if you're coming to black media because you've been getting killed in the media, and only black media has been defending your little Indian girl magic, Roland Martin segments, and, you know, the MSNBCs, Joy Reid, Tiffany, annoying ass voice cross, them the ones who defending Top Cop. They got her on the shade room, it looked like. She got to go to nigga media. So at least be honest to them and say, like, yo, all that shit we promised you, we're not gonna do. We're not gonna get rid of the filibuster. Forget that $10,000 debt. That's done with. But let's shift blame. We can do all those things right now because we have the votes. You went out and voted and gave us this position, and we're telling you it's the Republicans' fault, even though you have the numbers to do what you want to do. Make that shit make sense. You have all the power right now, and yet you still point the finger at the other party. If you think and have your thinking caps on, you can't let this shit pass. You can't let that shit go. And that's the problem. Charlamagne's making a point like, yo, people are not going to get excited to vote for y'all in these midterms, which generally they're expected to get washed. I do think that Stacey Abrams could ooh, that's a nice text. I think that Stacey Abrams could possibly win Georgia. I think so because, you know, Brian Kemp and, you know, the Trump sycophant people might not mess with him like that. And all the power and resources that, you know, all the Bloomberg money or whatever, like, they going to throw it at Stacey again. So I don't know. There's a possibility. Ted Cruz barely beat Beto. So that governor in Texas, with all these new people moving to Austin from liberal cities, like, that's the trade-off. We point out that everybody's leaving these blue cities to go to red states, the evil red states with abortion laws and all these free guns everywhere. All the people from California and New York and Chicago are going there. But sometimes that does have an effect on those new places because they vote for the same BS that they had. And again, when it's a black Democrat, you know, no white Democrat is going to go into the South trying to win an election. Maybe not at the Senate level because that's the federal level, but like at a state or local level, talking about gun control, because that's not going to happen. Like, they know they have to kowtow and be moderate or be in the middle on the guns. But Stacey Abrams, nope, she's swinging. She's going to go in there talking about on some beta reward. We're going to take your AR-15s. We're going to take your guns. You should not have them. Again, prior to her getting all this Bloomberg money and getting all this credit for turning the state blue, which I guess there's debate about that amongst the niggercrats. Like, they say there are other people who were on hands on the ground and were there before her and had a long history of doing that and getting people out to vote. You know, 1 million new people voted in Georgia. Quinkydink. But I don't know. I think she does have a chance to win Georgia. I don't know. I tease all my friends in the red state, Georgia, down there, who be talking shit about our gun laws in New York. I'm like, maybe I need to taste this a little bit. Maybe I need to taste this non-freedom for a little bit. You know? Huh? No? I don't know. But yeah, it looked like I don't know. Was the honeymoon over with Charlamagne and Kamala Harris? You know, she probably heard them calls and cries. You know, this is the guy who said, I'm not voting for Joe Biden, I'm voting for Kamala. And yet he had all these smokes and these little subs at her and during the week during the Breakfast Club, but in front of her, he, you know, doing the typical, you get all this criticism. Is it because you're a black woman? Look, sometimes people are just trash. Sometimes people just don't like you. You're just unlikable. Like, this is it, because Hillary's unlikable. Kamala's unlikable. That's just it. Like, stop trying to deflect. She's cringeworthy. Fake kids and actors doing interviews, the Chucks and the Pearls. Like, it's all fake. The Tupac, the Biggie, the smoking weed. Come on, son. And you know about that because it's on your show. But that's pretty much it. I just thought that was interesting. Kamala got hot when he tried to point out that, correctly, he's trying to diffuse the smoke that you getting in the media, maybe from the right and from the left, because the left is over with you too. They're the ones leaking all the stories and information. People who left your office are the ones snitching, saying that you not cool to work with and this and that. He's trying to cape for you, and then you yell out and thrash at him talking about stop acting like a Republican, saying that Joe ain't the real president. And we know that historically we've always had these presidents that have been accused of not being the person in power. It's been someone else. He wasn't even doing that. He's saying y'all letting all your agenda be hung up on 2 senators, mainly one, and is he really the kingmaker right now? And just be honest, say yeah, he is. But she rather deflect and blame Republicans when they have all the power. It's theirs. They can do whatever they want right now. But it's easy to shift the blame because a lot of the Democrats don't want to do any of that shit either.
That guy is stopping progress. He's ruining democracy. Are you willing to be that superhero? Because what scares me is if voting rights don't pass, or the Build Back Better plan doesn't pass, or police reform doesn't pass, I doubt you're going to get black people to go out there and vote in 2022 and 2024. And, Trump will be president again. What's the plan for all of that?
I couldn't agree with you more on the seriousness of these issues and how people take these issues seriously. And so we're going to have to keep fighting. On voting rights, we need to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. We need to pass the Freedom to Vote Act and be relentless about pushing for that, which is what we have been doing and what I certainly am going to keep doing. We need to keep pushing for what we got to do to really reform the system that we know needs to be reformed with the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But again, Republicans stood in the way to get that done. So what did we do? Well, through the Department of Justice, we banned chokeholds and carotid holds. We said that law enforcement at the federal level, where we have the power to do it without Congress, that they have to wear body cameras when they're serving warrants. We put in place investigations of police departments that are active investigations right now. We are supporting consent decrees. So we are doing those things in the